Andrew Hillier joins me now in the studio. Andy, welcome back from Iran. We saw in that clip the crowd there seems pretty enthusiastic. Can you tell us more about what the atmosphere was like?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is definitely, I think, what Iran's rulers wanted people to see. These images of thousands of people filling the streets of Mashhad, you can see in these pictures here, filmed by our France 24 team. And this may be one of the reasons why foreign media were given access to report from Mashhad. This is one of the ways that Iran's rulers project an image of legitimacy. By our count, there were definitely, I think, tens of thousands of people in the streets. At one point, it was impossible for us to move in the crowd. They were so thick. And the mayor of Mashhad himself claimed that up to 3 million people may have been present. Now, that's the equivalent of the entire city's population, so it's impossible for us to verify that figure. But those who did attend were certainly very enthusiastic about paying their respects to the late president. They are people who support Ebrahim Raisi's hardline policies. They support his unwavering loyalty and obedience to the country's supreme leader. And they were also happy and curious to see foreign media covering the event.
As you say, though, in your report, though, that we just heard, Andy, Ebrahim Raisi was a divisive figure.
He was a very divisive figure indeed. It's no secret that Iran's clerical rulers exert very big influence over Iran's electoral system. They streamline candidates for the presidential elections. Raisi was their man. He was tipped to eventually succeed the supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, who's aging. He's now 85 years old. But he was also despised by many Iranians for his role in crushing dissent, notably during the protests in 2022, sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini. That's after she died after being brought into police custody for allegedly not wearing the hijab correctly. He's also accused of sending thousands of dissidents to their death in 1988 when he was deputy prosecutor for Tehran. He was part of a committee that was overseeing the execution of political prisoners. Now, of course, his political opponents have not forgotten that. So it may have been a short presidency, but Raisi does leave behind an enduring and very divisive legacy.
And whoever replaces him is going to ultimately be pretty important in Iran's political future. What about the upcoming elections, Andy? What did voters, what did people in Iran have to say about it?
Well, what voters have been telling us is that the biggest issue for them, at least one of the biggest issues in Iran right now, is inflation. It's running at its highest rate since the 1979 revolution. In Mashhad, every few hundred meters, we saw on the streets street money traders carrying thick bundles of Iranian banknotes, as you can see here, changing euros and dollars into Iranian rials. And one of the effects of the plummeting value of Iran's currency has been to make it extremely cheap for people in Iraq to come to Iran and spend their money. Iraq, which only a decade ago was synonymous with conflict, unrest, and poverty. So our team ran into one Iraqi. Take a listen to what he told us.
The cost of living has gone up compared to before, but the dollar exchange rate is favorable to us. Before, we exchanged $100 for 1.3 million rials. Now we get more than 5 million rials.
So Ebrahim Raisi elected in 2021 on a pledge to help Iran's poor. But as Iranians told us, the economy has worsened since then. Take a listen.
Economic conditions are very tough and prices are also very high. I hope things will get better in the future.
I don't need to explain the economic situation here. You can see it for yourself. People feel the impact very deeply. Our young generation is going to waste. Those who can leave Iran have already left. Those of us who have nowhere to go have to stay unburied.
So, Alison, absolutely no doubt about it. The economy, one of the biggest issues on voters' mind going into those presidential elections on June 28th.